So guys, today we're going to be looking at VIX 75 1s, and we'll be analyzing this to, in order to get our bias as to what we're supposed to do. We're, probably going to look for a buy or a sell on this trade. So here we have, this is the daily time frame. Let me just zoom in. And from the daily time frame, we can obviously see that the market is in a downtrend. I don't think we need anyone to tell us that. Reason being that the price has presented itself with a series of lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so as you can see here, let me just mark them out. This here is a high, this is the lower high. By the way, this up here is the, basically the swing high. So that's the last higher high that was literally created, and then as well as the last lower high at the same time. So where this purple thing is here. So let's just leave that there. So as we already understood that the market is actually in a downtrend, so ideally we're supposed to be looking at just sell indications, okay, probable sell indications. So we had a trend line here, a bearish trend that was obviously broken, right, which we had here, and then the market reacting from that point. So we had this trend line, and then price created a breakout and then a retest, a perfect retest on the trend line before going in for a buy. And then this here, I think it's safe to say this is the last high, right, the last lower high that was taken out. So yeah, but then we can't still say that the market has changed its direction. Why? Because this low here was not supposed to be taken out. This lower low, it wasn't supposed to be taken out, but then the market came and took it out, this guy down here. So because the market took it out, it's still a confirmation that the market is still in a downtrend. Sorry, it's not properly straightened. Yes, so it's still an indication that the market is in a downtrend, because if this was supposed to be a stable market structure shift, what would have happened is something like this, right, without breaking the structural, and then a continuation to the upside, therefore breaking this high here. Then we would categorically say that, oh, this market is in an uptrend, or rather is going towards the bullish direction, because it did not take out this low. But since it has taken out this low here, it simply means all these other things are for assumption sakes. So now that we finished, we fully finalized that this market is actually in a downtrend. For the fact that it's buying, it still doesn't mean if we see buy opportunities we shouldn't take it, because currently the market is a bit bullish, although the momentum with which it's moving is not, the volatility is not actually much, but to some extent it still looks like it's going to buy for quite some time before it turns bearish. So we could probably look at still buying to the upside, okay, for now. So we'll basically be going down to a lower time frame. Okay, so the 1 hour is just to give us an overview, or rather an oversight of the market direction, which we've categorically seen already that this market is actually in a downtrend. We had our breakout and retest. So basically the 4 hours is just to fine-tune our strategy. Okay, let me just modify this. Okay, so we have our 4-hour trend line here, which I will be drawing right now. We have our 4-hour trend line here, as we can see. Now, the reason why I took this is because the price has touched 2 points already, and it's basically on the verge of it's made its third touch, and it's having a little bit of it's having some rejection. But we need to see the price action that market will create at this particular point to determine if we can actually look for a buy or a sell. So this is actually a good trade because it's happening instantaneously, right? So it's on the trend line, so whatever decision we're making or we're taking, we're actually going to execute the trade instantly to some extent from what the 4 hour is giving us. Okay, so but what we can see here is the 4 hours is still bearish, very heavily bearish. Daily time frame is still bearish, but like I said, we're looking at probably counter trading, right, because we're seeing a little bit of buy scenario happening. Okay, so we're probably going to look at counter trading this particular pair. All right, it's not ideal. I feel like we would have been looking for a short opportunity, but for us to wait to the extent or the position where price will get to before shorting the trade is going to be a very long wait. And so why not utilize the opportunity by looking out for counter trade opportunities. So this is what the 4 hour is giving us. All right, so sorry about that. So we're gonna be going down to our lower time frame, the 1 hour, so we could get a clearer picture as to what's happening. So this is what the 1 hour is giving us. Still very heavily bearish until recently, where the market literally shifts to being bullish, as you can see here. Several breaks of structures to the upside, creating a series of higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so with this, I can easily pop out my trend line. Sorry about these messages. I can easily pop out my trend line. Now, initially we had this as a trend line, which the market was respecting these particular zones or these levels until it broke out of this zone. So if you are adjusting your trend line, you extend it to this bottom part, because this, if you use this now, right, this is literally an invalidation to these other parts, these external parts that did not touch. So we're going to have to extend the trend line like this just to get them perfectly fit into it. Okay, so we can see that this is giving us like a buy scenarios. Obviously breaks of structures to the upside, which is creating series of higher highs and currently higher lows, right? So, but another thing is this 4 hour trend line has not yet been invalidated, so price is still literally ranging within it. The market can do something like this, act like it's going to break out and then come back into the zone, which is the trend line, and then still keep on selling. So we need to be certain as to what the market will do. Okay, because the market could easily do, let me just give some scenarios. Sorry, not this. Let me give some scenarios as to what the market might probably do. So it could do something like this, right? And then come back for a retest, probably on the 1 hour trend line, or this, either here or here. It depends on wherever the market sees fit to retrace to. So if it wants to grab liquidity, right, it's probably going to come back to the 4 hour trend line like this. But let's just use this for a reason, for our understanding, like this, and then it's gonna buy all the way up like this. So this would give us a clean breakout and retest on the 4 hours, and then still the 1 hour as well. So it's giving us not just a breakout and retest, but then a continuation on this other trend line. Let me change the color, so I would, if I'm explaining it, to be easier for us to pick up. This is orange. Yeah, this is orange. So on the orange trend line to give us a continuation, then the purple trend line that we have, it's going to give us a breakout and retest, which obviously will be having two confluences in order to take the trade. So that would actually be a good move. Now another thing is, it could do something like this, come down, and then like this, then sorry, like this. So it's still going to give us two scenarios. One is it's going to give us a breakout and retest on this orange trend line, which is the 1 hour trend line, right? And then it's going to give us a sell continuation on the 4 hour trend line, right? Which obviously will be having basically two confluences, and then the daily is giving us a sell scenario. And obviously all our lower time frames would equally give us sell because they've all broken structure to the downside. So this, ideally, if we had something like this, I would much more prefer to take a trade like this and probably stack my way all the way down, as opposed to if it breaks up to the upside, because that would be counter trading. But then this is moving with the ideal market direction. Okay, so this would have been a much more better scenario, but like I said, we have those two things just in case. If it breaks above, good and fine, we look for a buy opportunity. If it breaks below, we equally look for a sell opportunity. So I'll just get rid of these things. So basically, we can see here from our higher time frame, which is the daily 4 hour, and then the 1 hour. The only time frame that is contradicting the rest is the 1 hour time frame, because this is giving us a buy scenario right now, and it's going to give us a buy on all our lower time frames. Okay, so it's just the 4 hour and then the daily that is contradictory to what the 1 hour is giving us. And if we have such scenarios, we need to look at what the lower time frames are giving us, and that is why I'm more hell-bent on this particular candle closing, right, or just piercing above this purple trend line, the 4 hour trend line that we have, because I could have easily said, oh, we could enter this trade from this particular point here. We could easily enter this trade even as it is. I think it was around here when we started, let's say around here, and then just easily place our stop loss below here. But that would be literally gambling. And then let's say, sorry, take profits could be, let's target this high. Where's the most recent high? Okay, let's just use here. Okay, because this is like a supply zone, so we could use here as a take profit. So this would basically be like gambling, because we've not seen the price action that market has created within the 4 hour time frame, and then the 1 hour time frame. So this would just be like taking a blind bet with the anticipation that this trade should go in your direction. Okay, so I don't think this is ideal for us to do. So that's why once proper confirmation, so that when we're taking the trade we could take it with full confidence that, oh, it's actually going to go well. And should in case it doesn't, we know that all our criteria were met, but then the market just refused to hit our TP for some reason. So this is what I'm looking at on our 1 hour, the 4 hours, and then the daily. So I think it's safe to say we can go down to our lower time frames, right? I don't use M30. I've always emphasized in my previous videos as well, I don't use M30. So let's go to the M15. So on the M15, the market is still heavily bullish as well. Obviously, the 1 hour is giving us a bullish move, then all the other time frames should equally be giving us that same bullish move. Okay, so safe to say that all the time frames are in sync at this point. Now, another disparity is that you can see that this 15 minutes is creating higher lows, but I would say no reasonable higher will form, because all of these guys here are in a zone, right? So if you notice, all the lows have not been taken out, right? All these lows from here, this low has not been taken out by this guy has not been taken out by this. So it's safe to say that's the same pattern that the market will keep creating. But another thing is, these highs have not been broken, so we need to literally see these highs been taken out first before we can conclude that, oh, it's actually, the bias is actually very bullish. So as for my sentiment, I would wait for this market to pierce above this consolidation zone, then wait for it to retest on the trend line, right? Give me either a perfect or an imperfect retest, and then I hop in for my trade for a buy. So what we're going to be doing in VIX 751S is waiting for the price to break above this trend line, this zone, sorry, right? Break above this minor supply, breaks above, comes back for a retest, probably taking enough liquidity to push the price all the way up, and then we target our most recent high, which is what we had up here. Okay, I think I removed it up here, so somewhere around this zone here, you could just target up here for your take profit. Mind you, this is a daily time frame, so it might take a while to reach there. If you're not patient enough to hold, you could use maybe another take profits region that is close by. Maybe look for your TP1 or something. So this is just my bias on VIX 751S. I didn't use the lower time frames because we were not confirming our entries yet, so I'm not using the 5 minutes and then the 10 minutes, or probably any more lower time frame. So this is my bias on VIX 751S. Let's see how it plays out, and I'll update you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.